Our clip channel is at 850 subs right now. We're pushing for 1,000 to start 2023. Feel free to subscribe. Take a sharp left turn here into very divisive waters, which is Clubhouse culture. I feel like there is a gray area here. You can see that this front office has moved Teoscar and Lourdes, which we already touched on. They are two of the most charismatic, fun-loving clubhouse dudes you could possibly have, and the joy and the fun that they brought this clubhouse will forever be remembered by Blue Jays fans. I do think that it's going to change the clubhouse, taking two big personalities like Teoscar and Lourdes out and putting in a Kevin Kiermaier and a Dalton Varsho. And it's not that I am overly familiar with the kind of character that they're going to bring to this clubhouse, so I can't really speak on what they're going to add to the clubhouse, but I can speak on what is being removed from the clubhouse. And it feels as if the front office is trying to make this group a little more, for lack of a better word, serious. Now, this rubs a lot of people the wrong way that I would even bring this up. I feel like you can have, I feel like there should be a sliding scale as to how much fun you can have and should have and would have. Like, I don't think you have to be 100% all fun or zero fun. I think there's a middle ground here. But would you feel comfortable saying that this is something that the front office is concentrating on? Not necessarily changing the culture, but maybe becoming a little more focused in the approach.
For me personally, I think that these things are coincidental. I think a big part of moving Teo and Lourdes was they were both jammed done as Blue Jays at the end of this. There's not been one re-up conversation with either one of them. They were both done as Toronto Blue Jays at the end of this season. So for me, this was all business. And we talked earlier about Shapiro and Atkins. That's an empty cupboard as far as a young up-and-coming outfielders that they've got. They've addressed that now. Weren't happy with the pitching staff. You bring in a Chris Bassett, who is an absolute gamer and going to be a great teammate. For me, these things seem coincidental. One thing I just couldn't disagree more with the sentiment that these changes are really going to upset Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and might affect his re-up opportunities. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. brings the party with him. His 25 best friends are going to be the 25 teammates that he has under any circumstances. This is not a problem. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. grew up in baseball dugouts. He is completely he's as well versed as anybody in baseball, honestly, as anybody in baseball when it comes to the business of baseball. So that I feel like these moves were coincidental as far as the clubhouse
culture. I love that take. I actually really love this take, Craig. Yes.
Yeah. As far as the atmosphere in that, I find that it's coincidental. And again, okay, so here's what I was thinking of last night, gentlemen. We all remember. So we remember. We saw the footage. Slim Daddy Vladdy sitting at the edge of the dugout watching in 2021 as Boston won. Remember that? The Jays won that last day. They needed Boston to lose. And Slim Daddy Vladdy said he was distraught. He walked around he missed his flight back home. He walked around the city of Toronto for 3 days because he was just so distraught. That does not describe somebody who's okay with winning and losing as long as his best buddies are with us. That describes somebody that wants to win. And he is going to understand these moves were to help win. These moves are going to help win. And all that's been taken from him is one more season with these guys. As I say, they were done with both. Teo and Lourdes were done with Blue Jays at the end of this season.
Here's an interesting analogy for my own life, a comparable. Let me know if this rings a bell or rings true for either of you two gentlemen. I've always found anytime I've had a real job in my life that I'm always able to be friends with my coworkers, but the reverse has never once been true. Anytime I've had a job and I've gotten a friend hired, I cannot be coworkers with a friend. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Wow.
So I'm wondering if there's a comparable there where, like you said, Bo and Vladdy was buds with these guys, but they couldn't win together. But if he's winning with someone, they're going to be friends.
That's such an interesting, and Adam, the jobs you're referring to didn't take place on a world stage.
Exactly.
No, seriously though,
exactly.
Like, what's more important to Vlad? the sunflower seeds and the goofing around in that, or the wins and the losses? Because it seems to me that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is serious as cancer when it comes to wins and losses. That's what he cares about, is what it seems to me.
I will also say that the opinion that there's a shift toward, like, away from fun. I think this also coincides with the run prevention acquisitions that we've made, because
Yeah.
offense is fun,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but defense wins championships.
Do you guys
Right?
remember? You're both young bucks. Do you guys remember the Mark McGuire, the Maddox and Glavin campaigns from the early '90s?
Yes.
Tom Glavin and Greg Maddox, who are the size of my glass here.
Yeah.
They're walking around in muscle shirts. They're trying to learn how to hit home runs because the tag
Chicks
slogan
dig
was,
the long
"Chicks-
ball. Hey, we
chicks
got
dig the long
swing
ball."
winners over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Really like that take, Craig, that this was much more a baseball move than
Yeah.
it was about affecting clubhouse culture. And obviously it is going to. This is, I mean, to act like clubhouse culture isn't dependent on who's coming in and out is a very naive take. And I obviously things are going to change when you bring in different personnel. And we're going to need to wait and see, as Jays fans, what that change is going to look like. And I don't think change is bad. We talked right from the offset, right after they lost to Seattle, and we were all heartbroken. And we were all saying, this team needs a shakeup. Well, the shakeup's here. And whether you like it or not, they did exactly what we were all screaming to do. So how this plays out with the personalities and stuff, I think is still a work in progress, and we'll see where it goes. And if this team's more serious, that's fine. If they're just as fun, that's fine. Like, I really think that there's so much energy and time being put in by this fan base to judge whether there's a culture change going on or not. But who cares if wins are coming?
Yes, and you mentioned, Scott, that there shouldn't be a 100% not strategy, but a 100% atmosphere in the clubhouse. Like a 100% rule, one way or the other. I would take that one step further and say that I think that should fluctuate throughout the season as well. The dog days of summer, do something fun with your guys. Now the calendar turns to September 1st. Hey, let's get this buttoned up. It is go time. So
yeah,
I think this is a clubhouse that's going to be led by Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Alec Manoah. So could they be super serious if they even needed to be? Like, could they be super?
All right,
right?
Let's be real. The day Vladdy walks into the dugout with a crew cut is the day we have to be concerned about clubhouse culture being too serious. So, yeah. I mean, once there's a no facial hair rule and we become
no sideburns,
right?
Yeah,
blue
like
pinstripes
a
and no
Yankee,
facial hair, then that's the day we got to worry. But otherwise, I think we're good.
For all of you watching, thank you so much. It means the world to Adam and I. The community that has been built around this freaking little podcast, it blows my mind. So thank you to all of you. A very happy New Year and Merry Christmas to everyone out there. If you want to help us hit 1,000 subs before 2023, it would be greatly appreciated.